really excited that we have Will Cowling, who is the marketing manager with FMCG Gurus. He's responsible for managing the day-to-day marketing tasks, ranging from implementing campaigns, PR, to managing content on social and the website. Understanding the business and the industry is key to providing innovative ideas and producing quality content. Couldn't agree more. Will, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Heather, for the lovely introduction there. And hello, everyone. As Heather just introduced me, my name is Will Cowling. I am the marketing manager here at FMCG Gurus. Now, today's presentation is entitled Proactive Health in a Post-Pandemic Environment. And now we're going to focus on a key area, and this is going to be examining how consumers are adopting a long-term health approach rather than being driven by COVID-19. We're now looking and focusing on how consumers are adopting their diets and lifestyles in order to achieve their health goals in the future. Now, this presentation will last around about 20 minutes, and if you do want a copy of the slides, please do feel free to contact us at info@fmcggurus.com, and we'd be more than happy to share these slides with you. So, although consumers are less conscious about COVID-19, levels of consciousness still remain high. So, FMCG Gurus research shows that concerns about COVID-19 are actually fading. However, when actually looking at consumer motivations towards leading a healthy lifestyle, these have actually stayed the same. So what we can see now is that the proportion of consumers who say that they're concerned about COVID-19 has actually dropped around about 30% over the last 2 years. However, when we compare this to the proportion of consumers who say that they plan to eat and drink more healthily, we can actually see that over the last 2 years, there actually hasn't been much of a change. Now, one of the key reasons for this is that consumers are now more well adapted to living with COVID-19. They understand how to deal with this, and they understand the measures they need to take in order to stay safe. However, what we are seeing is that consumers are still dedicated to better-for-you diets. Now, one of the key reasons for this is that consumers are adopting a long-term health approach to well-being and healthy aging. Now, some of the key areas consumers are going to be focusing on will be minimizing vulnerability to illness, of course, due to COVID-19 and the scares of any future viruses. But consumers are also becoming more proactive. They're actually recognizing that their diets and lifestyles may not be as healthy as they once used to be, and therefore this is something they're going to be looking to address over the next couple of years. Now, this also shows that consumer health motivations was not just a knee-jerk reaction to COVID-19, but it's actually consumer motivations and what they're trying to do over the long term. So consumers want to address a variety of health issues over the next 12 months. So as a result of this and a result of concerns towards health, consumers are taking proactive approaches in order to look to address a variety of number of areas. Now, what we're seeing is that two of the key focuses consumers are looking at is digestive health and, of course, immune health. Now, satisfaction for both has recently declined, and this has been affected by COVID-19, of course. But this is also an area consumers were looking at prior to the pandemic. Now, both of these areas are significantly interlinked, and consumers believe that both the digestive health and the immune health interlink and also link to overall health and well-being. And this trend will actually continue to intensify over the next couple of years, as many consumers are still suffering from digestive health issues due to aging society and also diets and lifestyles which aren't helping this. Now, before the pandemic, stress and sleep management was also a key area consumers were looking to address. And due to the pandemic, this has actually intensified due to the uncertainty around everyday life, whether this be in their personal or work life. Now, daily stress and worries is key to consumers, and this is something consumers want to address. Now, this is because it does not just impact their mood and energy levels throughout the day, but it also impacts their well-being as a whole. Now, placing influence on this has actually led to positive changes from consumers, and therefore this is going to be a key motivation for consumers in the future. So the desire to lead a healthy lifestyle is driven by consumers recognizing that diets and lifestyles are not as healthy as they could be. Now, over the last couple of years, consumers are reevaluating their health in ways that generations have not done so before in the past. Now, initially, consumers were concerned about COVID-19 issues, but now they're actually showing a broader approach to health and wellness. Now, this needs to be addressed, that consumers are addressing diets and lifestyles more often. And consumers can feel that there are many barriers in order to lead a healthy lifestyle when making these changes. So I'd like to just highlight some of the stats from the slides here. So what we can see is that 20% of global consumers actually say they are dissatisfied with their immune health. 31% of global consumers say that they believe they have gained weight in the last 12 months. 33% of consumers say that they can find healthy food to be bland and boring. 49% of global consumers say that they often eat unhealthily because they feel stressed. 42% of global consumers say that they regularly do not have enough energy to do physical exercise. And finally, 26% of global consumers say that time scarcity means that they often turn to convenient foods. So therefore, this is showing that the research is actually showing that perceptions around cost, convenience, sensory appeal can all act as barriers when trying to adopt this healthy lifestyle. Now, therefore, it's crucial that brands and manufacturers produce better-for-you products and position them around compromise-free and easy to incorporate into daily diets and everyday lifestyles. Oh. So consumers are looking to address all areas of their health in order to boost their health. Now, consumers are adopting their diets in order to lead a holistic health approach to life. Now, consumers are recognizing that diet is not alone in this and is not enough, and actually they must change their lifestyles as well. So one of the key areas consumers are actually looking to improve is their exercise. And as we can see, 6 in 10 consumers are exercising more. Now, this has been helped by COVID-19 and the lockdowns, where consumers have had more time on their hands to actually engage in these activities. And this has led to the active nutrition market and the sports nutrition market to constantly grow even more, and therefore becoming more mainstream, which we're seeing as well. Now, consumers are also looking to improve their diets in many ways. And from an ingredient perspective, consumers are looking to avoid dietary evils, such as sugar and other bad ingredients. However, they're also looking to ingredients that offer a boost beyond basic nutrition. Now, this is also then linked to a back-to-basics approach to nutrition as well, as consumers are looking for nutritious and trustworthy foods and beverages which they can easily incorporate into everyday diets. Now, consumers are also looking to improve their sleep and stress management and their mental well-being, and this is something I'll touch on later on in the presentation. Now, consumers are adopting a back-to-basic approach to nutrition, as mentioned just now. And historically, diets have been around avoidance and moderation. And this has led to consumers associating with these diets as being compromise and sacrifice, something that consumers don't want to be doing. Now, this is still the case. However, more and more consumers are actually taking a broader approach to what actually constitutes towards a healthy diet. Now, consumers want indulgent treats in moderation, and they do not want to give up these indulgent treats. However, they are also looking for ingredients that are associated with a health boost within these products. Now, this again is linked to back-to-basic nutrition. And one way consumers are adopting this approach is by scratch cooking. Again, scratch cooking, of course, consumers are at home cooking more from their kitchens. However, consumers are still pursuing this method. And this is due to the tastiness of it, the nutritious, and of course, affordability, especially in a time where consumers are worried about financial abilities. Now, another key way consumers are looking to adopt a back-to-basics approach is actually reduction of sugar intake. Now, we understand that sugar is still seen as the #1 dietary evil amongst consumers due to its links to health problems such as obesity and diabetes. However, what we're also seeing is that there is an attitude versus behavior gap when it comes to sugar, as consumers often see sugar-free products as being inferior in taste, and therefore do not want to give up on some of those tasty, indulgent treats which they're used to. So consumers are looking to lead a more sustainable lifestyle in order to boost their well-being. Now, consumers are focusing on health, yes, and one thing which is very much linked to health is, of course, sustainability, a really key area at the moment for consumers as well. Now, we understand that concern about the state of the environment has grown, and that a lot of these consumers who are concerned believe that the damage done is actually now irreversible. Now, this will continue to intensify over the next couple of years as well. Now, many consumers associate big businesses and brands with having the sole responsibility. However, many consumers are also changing their diets and their lifestyles in order to be more sustainable. Now, consumers actually now want products which match their outlook on life, and therefore, if they're looking to be more sustainable, they actually want to see brands doing the same thing. Now, consumers also associate sustainable diets with being more healthier, and therefore, this is why it's so interlinked when consumers are looking to lead a more healthy lifestyle. Now, sustainability claims are also seen to be more resourceful, as there's less food waste and the products are more locally sourced. However, brands must monitor supply chains in order to look for sustainable initiatives which can actually be appealing to consumers. Now, concerns around the environment and around health will continue to drive demand for natural products that contain real and authentic ingredients, and this is going to be key moving forward. Now, the continued popularity of alternative diet plans create new opportunities from a category and positioning perspective. Now, we're actually seeing that more and more consumers are avoiding and moderating animal produce, and we can see that 4 in 10 consumers are actually following a diet around this process. Now, most of these consumers, and we can see that the majority are actually flexitarians, with 24% of global consumers now stating this. Now, this is being driven by consumers being motivated by health, sustainability, and of course, finally, animal welfare. Now, this trend has intensified over the last 2 years, and we believe this is going to continue to do so. And one key question FMCG Gurus has always asked is, what is next for the plant-based industry? What is next for the plant-based market? Now, I'm just going to touch on 3 key areas which the plant-based market must address. So firstly, they must maximize taste and texture. Many consumers still struggle with this, and would therefore, if the taste and texture is not correct within the plant-based market, consumers will not want to be looking for this for the long term. Secondly, due to the increased interest, there's an opportunity for plant-based goods within new categories. So for example, plant-based fish market, which is now becoming more popular. And also snacking, plant-based snacking options. As consumers look to snacking as a meal replacement, snacking options are becoming more considered. And therefore, they're going to be looking for those better-for-you snacks, which can then be associated with plant-based products as well. And finally, fortification in certain categories. By not eating meat-based products, consumers do believe that they are missing out on some vital nutrients. Therefore, there's an opportunity to fortify these products with vital ingredients such as vitamins and minerals, which they feel they may be missing out on. However, this must not be done at the cost of taste. Now, a focus on prevention over cure means that consumers will look to address health goals even if not suffering from specific symptoms. Now, the increased demand for functional products that blur the boundaries between medicine and groceries is growing, and consumers are adopting this prevention over cure approach when it comes to their health goals and when they're seeking out food and beverage functional ingredients. Now, seeking out functional claims, consumers are doing this across a number of different categories, and it is not just specific to better for you, but it's also specific to indulgent products as well. Now, consumers want these products to be positioned as guilt-free and conveniently nutritious. And it must be noted, consumers are becoming more skeptical about the health and wellness industry and claims as a whole. And therefore, consumers believe that brands do not have their best interest at heart and are actually putting out health claims just in order to boost prices and price products higher. Now, this is something the industry needs to address. And one way the industry can address this is through scientific claims. By backing up your claims through scientific-led claims is actually going to be very beneficial for consumers, and it's something that consumers are seeking out more often now when it comes to those better-for-you products. Now, functional products must be easy to incorporate into daily diets. Now, as previously mentioned throughout the presentation, consumers have a clear preference for functional food, and this is seen over supplements now. Now, functional food and drink is a lot more popular than supplements, and this is due to many reasons. So, for example, consumers believe this to be more natural, and consumers believe this to be more tasty as well. And of course, it's easier to incorporate functional foods than supplements into their diets. Now, consumers also have many concerns when it comes to nutritional supplements. They're concerned over the safety and side effects elements. Now, this needs to be addressed by the industry, and the industry needs to reassure consumers about the benefits of nutritional supplements and how easy they can be incorporated into their diets. However, this does lead to an opportunity for functional food in more categories. And we're actually seeing this in the energy drinks and the confectionery market. I've seen many gummies around today, which is lovely to see as well. And this can actually reinvigorate product categories and challenge perceptions of consumers when it comes to specific categories when it's looking at functional ingredients. Now, it's important that consumers are totally reassured that any functional ingredients, again, do not compromise on sensory appeal. When it comes to those indulgent products, taste is still going to be king, and therefore they do not want the functional ingredients to impact on this. Now, claims must also not be misleading, as consumers are wary about the trust elements of these health and functional claims. Now, consumers will actively research about different ingredients to boost their health. Now, across the globe, we are seeing that consumers are researching different ingredients more often, showing proactivity when learning about health and wellness. Now, there's a real opportunity to ensure that consumers are fully aware of the variety of benefits with tried and trusted ingredients which they may know about. However, there's also an opportunity to educate consumers about new ingredients, so for example, which they may not be aware of. Now, for example, we have lactoferrin and lutein, two really big popular ingredients at the moment, especially lutein, where many consumers now looking towards eye health in the digital age with blue light. This is going to be a really key ingredient which consumers are going to be focused on. Now, brands need to ensure that they actually educate consumers in the correct way and must not be misleading consumers, as they may not want to misdiagnose any consumers with health problems which they do not have. Now, consumers are actively seeking and looking to increase the amount of time they spend relaxing. And as previously mentioned in the presentation, sleep and stress management is a really big area which consumers are going to be looking to address over the next couple of years. Now, poor mental well-being does impact mood and energy, but it also has a direct impact on consumers' overall health and well-being as well. Now, some issues are unavoidable, yes, we know that, but some are self-inflicted, and as mentioned again, for example, too much time on digital devices, and also dietary habits, such as late-night snacking, high sugar intake, high caffeine intake, all impacting consumers when it comes to at nighttime when they can't get to sleep. And it's also impacting consumers as they can't relax and unwind in the evenings, and this is a key time when they want to get away from that stress. Now, therefore, this is a key area consumers will be looking to address in the future, and this is actually going to be driving demand with any beneficial claims and ingredients that actually look to aid sleep and stress management. Now, it must be remembered that the threat of COVID-19 is something that has not gone away for many. This presentation has focused on consumers' long-term health approach, and we've moved away from COVID-19, and we know that it may have influenced it, but is now not the driving factor. However, it's important to remember that for many, COVID-19 still exists, and it will still impact consumers on a day-to-day life, and consumers are still concerned about future waves, as we can see from the slides. Now, as a result of this, consumers will continue to be more conscious about exposure to germs and viruses, whilst continuing to question their physical and cognitive health. Now, this will drive demand for functional products, focusing on a prevention over cure approach. So I would now like to just read out some actionable recommendations from this presentation. So consumers are taking a long-term and proactive approach to health, something which appears to be having a positive impact on health levels deemed to be improving. Now, consumers are looking to make wholesale changes to their diets and lifestyles in order to improve their physical, mental, and cognitive health. Although concerns around COVID-19 exist, it must be remembered that increased levels of health consciousness are long-term trends and will remain when the pandemic actually passes. Now, consumers are adopting a holistic health approach to well-being, something that will significantly impact dietary habits. Consumers are adopting a back-to-basic approach to nutrition when seeking out functional products. A focus on ingredients will mean that healthy living is associated with sustainability and purity. Now, continued interest in the plant-based markets will also create new opportunities for formulation and a category perspective. And finally, transparency around product claims is crucial. So thank you everybody for listening to my presentation today. And if you do want a copy of the slides, please feel free to contact info@fmcggurus.com, or please feel free to come and talk to me at the end of this presentation. Now, many of the surveys we have discussed, including our sleep and stress management, our digestive health, and our immune health surveys, will be launched this year again. So if you have any questions about those, do feel free to contact me as well. Now, I also have on the floor here in the corner some leaflets, and there is a QR code on there, and you'll be able to download our top 10 trends for 2022, along with another free report which we are giving away for VitaFoods. I believe that's all from me now, so I'm now open to any questions. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Will. Do we have any questions from the audience? I got one. I love when someone wants to ask a question right at the start. It makes me so happy.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Can you say a couple more words about the trends of consumer looking for the scientific evidence? Are we looking more into the products that have like HCP recommendation, that's okay? Or are they going all the way until, okay, what clinical trials have been done? What publications has been done? How far are they within that frame?
Okay, perfect. So when it comes to those scientific-led claims, consumers, when choosing a product on the shelf, will make a decision at split seconds. They will understand whether they want to look at it. So some consumers may go and research more, as we're seeing, into different ingredients, and that's where they will be looking for the scientific claims. But when it comes to off-the-shelf products, maybe just a simple sign to say that this is science-led, and then of course with the education side of things, maybe a QR code to a website explaining this, and that's sort of what we're seeing in the research, what consumers sort of want from that sort of level. So maybe going into too much detail is too much for the consumer to understand, but they would want it to be as simple as possible for them to understand that science-led claim.
Other questions here? I did find it interesting that consumers are looking for more plant-based snacking options. And I thought, like, fruit maybe, vegetables, those would seem to be pretty plant-based snacking options. Not so processed, I suppose, though.
Yeah, so fruit and vegetables we have seen an increase in consumers throughout all of our research, that this is an area consumers are looking to increase their fruit and vegetables. They understand that it's nutritious, it has those health benefits which they're looking for, and it's easy to incorporate into their diets. And it goes back to basic nutrition. Go into those products that they know and trust and which they have already associated with offering that health boost in daily diets. So that is a key area as well.
So consumers, have come out of the pandemic. They were challenged. They're making these new choices. How long will this last? How long will they be making proactive health choices until the next health crisis? Will they forget? Are they going to backslide?
Well, from what we're seeing from the research as well, and we launched the COVID-19 survey across the whole span of COVID-19, and I think we launched 5 waves of this, and our most recent one was actually done in April 2022, so only last month. And what we're seeing is that when it comes to actually addressing health and well-being, there's been not much fatigue, not compared to the concerns about COVID-19. So therefore, from what we're seeing, it's actually a fact of a long-term trend. It's going to be a long-term trend. Consumers are going to be looking to address their health and well-being over the long term, and it's not something we're seeing is dying out at the moment from the research.
Okay. Any other questions from our audience? I'm going to take a look at the iPad and see if there's anything else. Do you think consumers actually do understand, or to what degree do they understand, the connection between digestive and immune?
They do have an understanding to an extent, and they obviously understand that the immune system is the immune system, and the digestive system has its own impact as well. But what they're seeing is that they're feeling that if they have a bad digestive health system, it actually is impacting their immune system as well. And this is because they're adopting that holistic health approach, recognizing that they don't need to just address one area of health, but all areas of health in order to achieve their health goals. And that's where that's coming from. So.
Let's see. Can our online audience access the top 10 trends if they're online and not in person?
Yeah, sure. If they do reach out to me, then I'll be more than happy to send across the slides. And if they do reach out to info@fmcggurus.com, we're more than happy to share them as well in that sense.
Wonderful. And how to go through prevention claims, to avoid prevention if it's linked to more drug claims. How do you play within the nutra or food space, not the drug and health claim space?
I'm not too sure how to answer that one. That's something for my analyst team. So I'll make sure to make a note of that, and we can get back to the question there.